All right, guys, we're coming back to you with this tornado warning that Caitlin and I have been tracking here. And the reason we're coming back to you is they've now confirmed that it is on the ground out that way. So we're watching Frederick County. That's Frederick County, Virginia, not Frederick County, Maryland. Don't want to confuse anybody there. And Hampshire County in Virginia as well. City of Winchester, of course, right there. You are not yet included in this tornado warning. I know you just had a storm kind of fire overhead there, so certainly seeing the rain come down. But it is this portion of the storm. Caitlin's got the arrow right on it where we're watching, and they've seen enough debris getting lifted aloft in the air with this guy that they've been able to do what they call a radar confirmation of a tornado that has made contact with the ground. So this part of the world out here, not the most populated, some highlands, some hills out that way. Certainly, folks out that way, if you are seeing that tornado warnings, getting the alerts on your phone from Fox Local, certainly going to want to seek shelter as this storm continues its journey eastward. This may be just brief rotation. A lot of these storms today, they've had rotation for about 15, 20 minutes, and then it's tended to die down. So we'll continue to watch it as it works its way down just slightly to the south and east here, but it would be right in this section of the storm. It's right around the highlands and hills here, so velocity might not look the best. But Caitlin, if we want to check out velocity here and see if we see what they're seeing. Yeah, right there. There you go. That's actually a pretty good signature for where it's located. I'm sure if we pulled up some other data for you, we could probably show you what they're seeing, which would be a little bit of a debris ball down there, which is likely the tornado picking up some of the trees going across some of the highlands and the hills out that way. But it would be right in this zone here. And again, we don't have a lot of towns out this way because this is mostly kind of hill country out there to the west. Now, it is heading kind of right between Stevens City and up towards Winchester. Winchester probably going to dodge you to the south, but folks in Stevens City, I would kind of have a heads up and watch your skies out to the west there. If this does continue on its track, we'll get there, about 6:57. That seems a little slow. It'd probably get there a little earlier than the next 30 minutes. I'd say you probably have about 10 to 15 minutes there before that storm heads in your general direction. And if it continues beyond there, we'll continue to track it. I also just want to briefly mention, I know we're going to kind of stay focused on the storm, but Caitlin, do we want to show them that one in Leesburg that we've been keeping an eye on as well? That storm out in Loudoun County, you see the purple box around it. Rotation has been detected within this cell as well. Now, no tornado warning on it just yet, but it's got enough rotation at the lower levels of this storm that they're watching it. Now, it would be just to the north and west there of the town of Leesburg and likely going to track up near Barnesville in Montgomery County if it continues on its current track. Now, again, no tornado on that just yet. They're monitoring the rotation within it. If it does get a warning, we're going to continue to stay right here. But for the moment, we'll go back out. We don't get radar-confirmed tornadoes too often here in the D.C. region. And at the moment, this one is crossing the mountains just off to the west of Winchester. And we'll continue to monitor it as it works its way down to the south and to the east. When's this warning going to? Okay, is it 6:45 here?
Yeah, let's check.
I believe it's 6:45 until this. Yeah, there you go.
Which, even though it was something that was observed, that was probably when we were on a few minutes ago. But they're going to extend the warning, obviously, for another 20 minutes.
Right. And this observation, I did see that within the warning when they put it. It was due to what they were seeing. They have several ways they can see what's being picked up by radar, and radar is giving enough of what they call debris ball signature that they've confirmed that a tornado did at least briefly touch down, and it could possibly still be on the ground as it makes its way down to the south and to the east. So we want folks here, you're not included right now along that immediate I-81 corridor. I know this is where we start hitting the more populated zones. Winchester, keep your eye on it. It does look like the part of the storm that is rotating would likely head a little closer down towards Stevens City. Folks in Mount Williams, this is right on your doorstep. And Caitlin, if we want to pause radar right at the latest loop, you can kind of see right here, and they've just dropped it from being observed. So it's now just radar signature, but I do see just a little bit, and this could be mountain, but right in the middle, whenever you have that kind of clustering of red and then you have just a little drop there in the reflectivity, that can sometimes be an indication, at least on that, and that's right in the center of the tornado too, and that can be an indication of where that tornado would be. So that's certainly something we continue to watch. That continues to travel down to the south and to the east. I'm going to have my producer check and see if they want to stay on it now that the tornado is no longer observed. But we're going to continue to monitor it as it works its way off to the east. And we're going to continue to monitor that cell out in Loudoun County, as that one also has at times shown chances of rotation. So we were expecting an active afternoon. I'm sorry, Mason, one more time. No, it has not expired yet. It is still a tornado warning, but it's no longer an observed tornado out that way. So that's what we're monitoring there. We're going to continue to stay with you then here on Fox 5 as we continue to watch these clusters of storms, which have really started the fire. And just because these initial rounds are starting to push off to the north and to the east, we do have to watch this round in the back, not necessarily for severe weather, but the potential for some widespread heavy rain tonight. They did recently issue, and Caitlin was talking about it that long ago, a flash flood watch for northern and central portions of Maryland. And they did use the word considerable flash flooding threat for this evening when they issued that watch. And that's because these storms coming out of the mountains have a lot of moisture with them, and they could lead to, there you go, there's that flash flood watch. That goes until 2 o'clock in the morning on your Wednesday. So that's something we could have to contend with later on in the evening hours tonight. We did warn you, today was going to be the busiest thunderstorm day of the week. Once we get beyond today, things should start calming down, and by the time we get to Thursday, much comfortable conditions, or much more comfortable conditions moving into town. There's your severe thunderstorm watch. It remains up until 10 o'clock for the entire D.C. region tonight. Just because we hit the 10 o'clock hour doesn't mean storms are done. We're going to have showers and rain and thunderstorms right into the late evening hours tonight. Big picture for you. Tornado watch box up through New York. There have been a couple tornadoes actually confirmed up in northern portions of New Jersey, or sighted earlier today up in New Jersey. But right now you can kind of see that line of storms, which really just kind of fired within the last hour, hour and a half, just north of D.C. along an outflow boundary from storms down in southern Maryland earlier today. Several storms they're monitoring. Anyone you see with a purple box around it, those mean they are detecting rotation within the storm. It does not mean it hasn't what they call tightened enough to produce a tornado warning. That is not the case there in northern Loudoun County with this cell, and it does look like on the last couple of frames it might just be weakening just a little bit. So that would be good news for folks out to the north of Leesburg there, but certainly some heavy rain, some lightning and thunder as these severe thunderstorms start pushing their way across the border into Maryland. Opposite case here. This cell, they detected the rotation. They monitored. It tightened up enough that they were able to issue a tornado warning on it. Again, this one goes until 6:45 p.m. this evening, and it does contain this area just down to the south and west of the city of Winchester. If you are watching from Winchester right now, you are not yet included in this tornado warning. If they happen to issue one for you, we will of course let you know. But at the moment, those last few frames do give me more hope as they continue to come out of the highlands and hills there, that it might just be. It looks like they updated the tornado warning just a bit there, Caitlin, for that Sella.
Yeah, they also issued behind it this new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible for Grant, Hampshire, Hardee, and Mineral. So we're getting a line of them now, kind of all stacked up. So this kind of whole threat of them, all these active warnings that you see in purple, mean that's a severe thunderstorm warning, but it also means that a tornado is possible, meaning also a tornado warning is possible. So the update to this tornado warning is for Frederick County, Virginia, is still until 6:45. It was issued, it was then observed, and now it has been reissued despite, I think, what was probably just something that spun down, spun up, and still has rotation within the cell as it marches eastward towards 81 in between Winchester and Stevens City. So there are several kind of ugly cells lined up that go from Leesburg all the way back into West Virginia, although that Leesburg one is weakening, and that is good. We just saw this other cell that was warned behind the one in Winchester. So we can get some timing on those for you, too.
And West Virginia has certainly been one of the harder hit areas. Yeah. They had a number of warnings up there in northern portions of the county. There you go. A lot of information on these boxes. We're going to try and simplify it for everybody watching here. But right around the city of Winchester, you guys are under the severe warning aspect of it, not the tornado warning aspect of it. We're going to continue to monitor and let you know if they do expand that or extend that. We'll check on velocity in just a moment and let you know. But what Caitlin's talking about, this one farther to the west, we know we have viewers here. Grant, Hardee, Hampshire, Mineral counties, severe thunderstorm warning with rotation detected. So that's why they put the tornado possible on it. Not a tornado warning yet. They'll monitor it. And of course, we will, of course, let you know if they happen to issue that warning on it. But let's check the velocity. So it looks like the rotation's starting to weaken up just a bit. If we want to run like the last few frames, we can see if we don't see it weakening here. Very tight right there. But notice as it comes out of the mountains there, it starts to fall apart just a little bit. So you can really see right there why they likely went with observed tornado. It was probably on the ground. That's tight, and that is rather intense as it hit those highlands and hills. But you can kind of see it on my radar, or on the map behind my radar, where some of those highest ridge tops are, just to the west of the city of Winchester. As it came over, it probably disrupted the wind field, and you're seeing it weaken just a little bit as it's trying to make its journey farther to the east. So we don't drop warnings here, but I will say, at least from my perspective, things are looking a little bit better than they were, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think that better safe than sorry is their thinking with the warning, and they might ride that out for another 10 minutes, even though it is a really small slice of a weakening rotation. But we'll wait and see, because we do have these other warnings keyed up. And in fact, if I zoom in on this one over Loudoun and Montgomery, I just want to see how long this one goes for. It's definitely weakened. That goes until 7. We'll see what they do with that. Oh, this is the same.
This is the same one. So they just updated that warning, likely to just kind of point where they see the latest rotation at. And then we're going to continue to monitor. Hey, I'm going to ask my producer if we can go ahead and pull up or switch over if we want to go over to Max 2 right now. But this is the area that we are seeing the most rotation in at the moment. Thankfully, again, not quite as strong. There you go. Live radar for you just to the south and to the west of Winchester. Thankfully, again, as Caitlin mentioned, looks like the latest frames on it are showing a weakening rotation. And you can see there's been more storms firing down to the south and west of it, and they're likely disrupting its structure a little bit, which is good news for folks who live out that way. Still, a couple of rounds of dangerous thunderstorms, kind of all in the line there from what is now western portions of Montgomery County, right through northern portions of Loudoun County, and then out through Virginia and into West Virginia as well. So just, we don't want to confuse viewers. You do see Frederick, Maryland in frame there. You are not under any warning, though you are getting some heavy rain and thunderstorms right now. This is Frederick County, Virginia, where this tornado warned cell is, just down to the south and west of Winchester there. City of Winchester not included. Stevens City, we've been watching you too. You're just outside and likely where the portion of the storm that was rotating would go over if it happened to continue itself eastward, or if they happen to expand this. But you can really see, especially in the last few frames, that rotation, I would say, is certainly being disrupted. So we're getting a little bit more hopeful here that within the next 6 or 7 minutes, they're likely going to allow this to expire, and then we'll get back to business as usual as we continue to watch. But yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing... Caitlin, I'm not seeing too much rotation in with that storm at this point.
No, I think we can move away from this if our producer is okay with that, just because this is pretty much done, and we're back to just some severe thunderstorm warnings. So. For now, though, we'll just continue to recap what's happening. And, you know, most of the day has featured showers and storms kind of circling around the immediate D.C. metro. And now we've got a decent line from West Virginia to basically northern Delaware of severe thunderstorm warnings and even some tornado warnings. There's one over South Jersey. There's another one over northern Delaware, northeastern Maryland. But the overall track has been more west-east versus dropping from north to south. So that's where we stand right now. We're going to head to break. We'll be back with more weather in just a bit.